I don't have my gavel, so I'm making do with what I got. So we'll start tonight's City of Olivet Planning Community Design Commission for November 20th, 2025 to order. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Georgio.
Present.
Jenna Nat.
Please
Use your microphone. Sorry. Robert Georgio.
Present.
Jenna Nat. She's
Absent.
absent. Tim Spiegelglass.
Present.
Sam Wallach.
Present.
Felicia Ford.
Present.
Laura Ragsdale.
Absent.
Absent.
Okay, let it also be known that our City Council Liaison, Brian Lewis, is in attendance, as well as staff liaisons, Carlos Trejo, the City of Olivet's Planning Community Development Department's Director, Dawn Doty, Senior Planner, and Jack Carswell making an appearance. Planning and Zoning Administrator. I appreciate it.
And Chairman, just in case I might have missed this, but also our secretary who called the roll, Ms. Powell, is also Commissioner Powell is also in attendance.
I didn't think that was necessary.
I-
It's kind of silly last time, so.
All right. Thanks for everybody being in attendance. Sorry for the delay because, you know, what we just talked about, but we appreciate you guys being here. Just so you know, as we go through these different agendas, we kind of, or go through the different petitions, we kind of follow the agenda that's on the paper. Typically with each agenda item, there's a staff presentation, discussion amongst the commission, and then we bring in the petitioner to discuss items. And then we have a chance for public comments related to that specific item. We do have an opportunity at the beginning of the meetings too for public comments that aren't related to something on the agenda. Okay, so if you do have something, okay, great. All right, appreciate it. Since we do have somebody online, if you do have a comment, either a public comment or a comment directly related to the agenda item, when that time occurs and we ask for public comments, we do ask you to push the button that says raise hand. It should be at the bottom of the screen. I could be wrong by it, but you know, it should be part of the menu items. And we do ask you when you're being brought on to the panel, that you look for, or make sure that your mics are on as well as your camera, because we need both of those operating, and a lot of times that kind of slows down the meeting. So try to do that ahead of time. That would be great. All right, Carlos, did I miss anything?
No, Chairman, I think you have everything covered.
I just got one more thing, and that's for public comments. We do ask that they be no longer than 3 minutes to be respectful of everybody's time and to make sure everybody's opinion gets heard, especially when we have a much larger audience. All right, Carlos. Okay, good. So we'll go to you, Carlos.
Okay.
We'll go, no, I'm sorry, public comments and announcements, and then we'll go to you.
All right, Chairman, there's nobody online that's raising their hand. And then, of course, we talked to the two people in the audience. So just a couple of announcements. One is that the commission is going to begin the meeting talking about the comprehensive plan with a hard stop at 7:30. And then we'll go to the traditional agenda items for action before you. We've reached out to all the applicants to give them a heads up on how that process was going to be laid out in there. The other announcements, we're kind of talk about the strategic plan, and that would be the announcement that I would give in there. So as soon as you're ready to start on the next agenda item, I'm set.
We're ready.
Okay. All right. So the city's adopted a comprehensive plan, which is our community vision to be a vibrant and unique city, strengthened by its diverse population, invigorated by its opportunities for community connection, and distinguished by its dynamic sense of place. You know, the core words in our process is to build community, build diversity, enhance sustainability, balance our economy, look at affordability, and be connected both to the environment and place within our community. In there, the commission adopted the plan back in February 2024, and it's a 20-year plan, and that's what we're kind of implementing in this process. Tonight, the commission is going to talk about establishing its priorities that were from the plan. The plan was a community outreach effort where we had over 3,000 participants and stakeholders that provided input into the city's vision, long-term vision, and that's what we're going to kind of go over. Our community goals are to encourage high-quality housing, provide connected, safe, and equitable transportation network, ensure reliable, efficient, sustainable infrastructure, ensure high-quality city services and facilities, be proactive in terms of leading economic development, ensure all of it is welcoming, all of it is safe, and all of it is healthy, to strengthen our environmental sustainability and promote strategic redevelopment and growth. And you can read much more of these goals on our website under the 2024 comprehensive plan. Urge the people that are online and in attendance to do so. So we have now these goals, and the council had asked the city council to give some assistance in terms of how it wants to prioritize these goals and what next steps we would go. So the council did so. We're going to go over the council's response, but then talk about how the commission is then going to prioritize the rest of the plan and the timeline that we're going to look at in there. So coming from the council, and we have our council liaison, Councilman Lewis here. The primary council viewed the primary goals as strategic redevelopment and growth, environmental sustainability, and diverse housing. And within those, they had specific action steps that they like the commission to take a look at. That's enhance the design quality and consistency along Olive, and to create streetscape enhancements in the pedestrian bicycle network throughout the city, not just on Olive. To strengthen environmental sustainability, the focus into removing barriers for solar panels, establish outdoor lighting regulations. Right now, most of our code outdoor lighting regulations fall under Chapter 428 for new developments and not necessarily existing developments. And I think that's where the council's looking at both establishing some standards to control, lighting that's focused up or isn't controlled. And then to continue to implement and improve our stormwater oversight and regulations. On housing, to adjust our zoning regulations to allow smaller lots, or give an opportunity for smaller lots, and to develop new regulations to manage the size and impact of new homes and major developments. So these will be the three core focus areas and goals that we'll start working in there. And in each of these goals, there's specific potential community actions. Those are the ones in bullets, and that's the way they're called out in the comprehensive plan. I'll let Councilman Lewis, if there's anything specific or anything he wants to expand on here, but then we're going to talk about how, now that we know what the council wants to prioritize, what are we going to do with the rest of the plan, and how are we going to prioritize the rest of the items? And then Ms. Doty is going to kind of go over that in an exercise we'll have for the commission. Councilman Lewis?
Yeah, I think Carlos covered it well, and I've talked about it at the end of a couple of our meetings that were long, but I'm glad we're taking the time here. But, because the question had come from the commission to the council, this was where we all voted and kind of came up and said, these are the areas that we think would be helpful for the commission to focus and prioritize on, and want to hear back. Do these resonate, and are there others? And Don will take us through that. But so as we start looking at legislation, what kind of legislation would you want us to pass? What would be things we should look at and factor in? So it's just, again, we don't want the list to be super long, but I think what are the core focused items that will help us then take this comprehensive plan and then take it to that next level with kind of actions behind it.
And for us, staff will be looking at the commission, like of the I think of the goals that you saw previously here, the 10 goals. We know that the council wants us to prioritize 3 of those goals as soon as possible. We're going to take a look at how do we prioritize some of the other goals, and then within those goals, what action items can we do, and how do you want to rank those in that process? So we have work to do here, with the guidance of the council. But this is a 20-year plan, and after we accomplish these, where are we going to focus next? And then Ms. Doty's going to talk about the process on how we're going to work with the commission to get us to what, where are we going to be after we accomplish these? Right.
Alrighty, so I have put together a survey, which is a sample or a little view of the survey is on screen. You can actually click that, Carlos, and activate the survey, or it should. open it. And then, I don't
Is
have,
this survey for us?
yes.
Great.
So, yeah, let me backtrack. The survey that I created is for you guys to fill out. This is essentially a list of the objectives from goal A, or sorry, the objectives are listed here at the top. And then, the potential community actions are listed each below with a set of options for your priority level, low, medium, and high. So you select, I've also given a little information on what goals are specifically related to, or sorry, not which goals, which PCAs are related to which objectives. The objectives are listed up at the top, and at the bottom of the page, you can link to the comprehensive plan if you would like to reference goal A or any other section. You see there the drop down, sorry, up at the top. You will select yourself and then fill out the survey. The survey will allow us to, collect this input and analyze it effectively. We only really want to know, like who is taking the survey so that we know who has not taken the survey. I don't believe that we are going to,
Single
say
people
that
out.
these people, so and so answered this way. We simply need to make sure that everyone has taken the survey. I've set it up so you can, you can do it in draft mode where you fill out part of the survey, go back 2 days later, hopefully not that long, but it's not a very long survey. And you're really going to just read the potential community action and assign a priority level to it. This is one of the shorter lists. And I'm not, for J and I, the lists are a little bit longer. But focusing on one group at a time, we would like to give you this survey on Monday. And then you would have until the next Monday to get it back to me.
Is there an opportunity to us to add comments?
Well, we
mean-
don't have I mean,
In case we, as we go through it, in case there's another idea that one of the commission members has, it'd probably be good to kind of, incorporate that, just so we can have it for discussion purposes.
I think once we get into getting the ones that are already, that are part of the plan, now the plan was adopted a year ago, things have changed, and the world's going to continue to change as we go out to 20 years. Let's have it that when, yeah, I guess we could create just a write-in space at the bottom. The goal here is like, what we're taking is that these specific steps represent what we got from the community in there. We talked about, providing some additional ones too in there, but we'll open it up to the commission also. In there. What
comments? We don't have to all write stuff, but if you have an idea that you think, doesn't reflect, anything that's on the questionnaire, add a comment to it. That's what
Okay.
I'm trying to get.
Out of curiosity, I see on the potential community actions, and I haven't read them closely, but I see the one where it says, consider new regulations. Is this the list that you all picked from?
No,
When
this,
you,
Yes, when the
when
council.
council did it, so they went through this list and they identified 3 of these particular ones. Okay. I'm just-
Correct. And we may highlight those to emphasize that these were council priorities. They may be the same priorities you have in that process too. That'll probably help,
no, I can
give you a
definitely
little bit guidance.
right next to that recommended there. Yeah.
I like this idea though. This is great.
Yeah. Thank you very much. At first we had thought about doing ranking and we had actually free entry spots in there. We've kind of gone back and forth on that, but that's the good thing about, controlling the survey is, we control the survey.
So a couple of things, there are 10 goals. So, here, we're probably not going to give you 10 different surveys, keeping the community safe, keeping the community healthy, making sure that the community is welcoming. I think those are like happen if we implement the other aspects of it. And typically other types of departments are going to be involved in those. So we're going to focus on the housing, the transportation, the infrastructure. I don't think number 4 is something that the commission isn't within the sphere of influence in there. And I'm not discounting any of those. We can have a talk, but I want to make sure we're focusing on the ones that we can make those changes. The commission can make those changes in there. So we're going to give one a week. So we should be done by mid-January. And then Don's going to put all the data together in there to find out, which ones are the prioritized ones, or those that we commission would like to do an immediate response. Then we're going to assess it. Is that something we can do intradepartmental? Is it something that we need interdepartmental, or is it council? And council has the authority to request assistance from other commissions, because the plan commission can't. We're kind of siloed in this, but we can go to council and say, we would like input from the Economic Development Commission or for the Parks Commission in there. So there are those things that need the council authorization. Other things would be, we need fund, we need to hire a consultant to do this. That's something what we want to do is be prepared to, when the council gets to April, when they start their budgeting process, that we know, like, we can make requests and be set for that, for things that are going to have an outside cost in there. So are there any questions or in there? Then again, we'll send out one a week. So you're probably going to look at 7 of these, and we'll send it out on Monday, and we will expect their response by the following Monday. So you have weekdays and a weekend to kind of review. I know we're getting towards the holidays and it's hard. That's what we're going to do one, because there are some that are pretty long in there. And then we'll call you out if we didn't receive anything when we send the next one out. So in there, we want you guys to participate. We're trying to make it as easy as possible, so you're not writing or doing things in there. So
I assume we're gonna start with the first 3 being what the council wants us to prioritize.
that's correct.
Perfect.
So
Great.
Yes, sir.
you know,
Sounds great.
I don't really have anything else to add. Petrie, I don't know if this was clear about the potential or where the list came from, but it's straight out of the comprehensive plan. For under each goal, we list potential community actions, and then and the objectives all came from there. But it'll be great to incorporate, the council priorities in the draft that you guys actually get to answer. So,
One of my questions is, okay, we're gonna do the survey next week. I assume in preparation for the December meeting. And then we'll discuss it, or we've given you our priorities without any discussion?
we eventually are going to discuss them. Once we got the priorities, this is going to be about a 7-week, you'll get a survey for the next 7 weeks. And then Don's going to put or collate all the data in terms of how it was
So we
prioritized.
talk about it for another 7
Correct.
weeks, 7 or 14 weeks, really.
Now, is there opportunities and it's slow? I mean, because it's been hard to get things in depending on the number of petitions and applications.
I think it would be good to have a discussion after we do the first 3.
Okay, and that'll be fine. The other thing too, is that we have the guidance from the council of the things that they would like us, the focus on first.
Yeah, so
Okay.
if we do that, first 3, have some discussions about it, I think that'll be a good start, and keep the focus on what council prioritizes.
Nice level check.
Yeah,
and it's still 7 weeks, not 14.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah.
Well, I was thinking our meetings are every other week.
well, no, yeah, I'm gonna make you work in the meantime. So there'll be one survey a week. We'd slated 6 to 7. So
Yeah, because it'll be difficult because next week we only have 3 days to prepare for the December 4th agenda. And then our next meeting would be the 18th. So probably the earliest we'll be talking about what we received will be the meeting on the 18th.
Good.
Okay.
All
Can
right.
you go back to the original priorities? Not the ones that
Council.
the
right.
council did.
Oh,
Okay, so are we looking at all of these or we're not looking at these specifically, or are we I guess I'm trying to relate that to the actual comprehensive plans. Are we assessing these?
Yeah, we're gonna prioritize these first.
We're gonna say if we think these are the priorities too?
Well, the council is
Has already
asking.
decided, okay,
Yes.
so they've already decided the priorities. Okay, so,
Well,
but we
it-
will have a chance to
But
talk about
I
these.
would say we gave a recommendation, but like Dawn might send you J first, it sounds like.
yeah, so.
You'll
Okay.
get J and then you'll do high, medium, low on all of the ones under J, just to give your feedback.
Okay,
Then you're gonna get I the next week and then A the next week, then
okay,
B, then C, then whatever.
Exactly.
okay.
It'll probably be AJ then I. But yes, correct.
That's good. All right. Anything else, Carlos?
Anything else? I think adding the text box is good.
Yeah.
And then as we can get, I think realistically, the meeting on the 18th, if we can do a similar format to do the first 30 minutes, we can go over where we are with the survey results. We'll have at least the first 3 council ones. So I think that's a good.
Good.
I personally don't think 30 minutes, I mean, we've blown through 30 minutes and we haven't said anything. I mean, we've gotten instructions, but like, I don't know how we could possibly discuss all of these goals or even the goals of the first one in 30 minutes.
I think we'll just review the results of the survey.
Oh, I thought we were gonna I thought that was the whole
What-
point. We're gonna discuss them.
Well,
I mean, I
I
just
think
have the
just
priority,
discuss the.
priority.
Right, you're right, but just go over the results of the survey.
Oh, that's all we're doing.
Yeah,
is
we
going-
might have a
Okay, so
little
we're,
bit of
okay, so
discussion, but
we're
we're
not
not
really
gonna-
having any discussion.
I mean, the difficulty is, I mean, because as a plan commission, which is for planning, we're also the city's community design review board. And whenever that decision was made, we have to review all these houses and there are all these other petitions. And that takes.
No, I understand. And maybe we ought to have a meeting like we had going over the legalities of our commission,
Mhm.
have an actual meeting dedicated to
And
these.
that might be,
Because I
pending.
think there's just a lot to say here, especially given the goals, that there are conflicting goals here. Conflicting priorities and conflicting goals. And so I think having a discussion so that we can sort those out and understand that better, I think is worthy. And it's not just which is the priority to each one of us. It's how do we navigate new regulations to manage size and impact of new homes, and also look at affordability and seniors and, there's a lot.
We're not gonna decide each one of these goals or actions in one meeting or 30 minutes. I think what the idea for the survey is to target different ideas that people on the commission feel strongly about to get a unified action with commission, which ones we want to, how we want to.
But without
address-
discussion, I don't know that prioritizing it has any meaning.
Well, yeah, good point. Good point.
You know.
Let's do the
I mean, I'd like to
survey.
hear from other people, like what do they think about, trying to manage the size and impact of new homes versus, like our constant approval of gigantic homes in the middle of small homes.
Right.
How are we gonna navigate that?
Well, that's for subsequent meetings, once we kind of go
Well,
through.
we don't ever discuss the plan, so to
That's
me,
Kind of what we've been doing is taking it little by little. And
Okay.
once we kind of identify kind of a roadmap, I think that's what this is to identify a roadmap, how we can tackle these priorities. And there'll be probably agenda items dedicated to each one of these things that we decide to go after. But we first got to at least kind of target some things. So I think the survey is a great place to start. Then we can have a quick discussion and we can decide then too if we need to discuss further. And that's kind of a little bit too, the write-in comments, maybe add some comments to that, especially if you see competing goals with each other. That would probably be helpful.
Okay.
I got it.
Okay. That being said, we'll move on to old business and we'll go to item A, which is 8950 Olive Crossing. Carlos, Jack?
All right.
All right, good evening, Commission. I'm happy to be back. So before you again tonight is 8950 Olive Crossing, Lot 6, which is the courtyard by Marriott. We're just going to go over some of the components that you guys discussed at the last meeting, and then also what we've received from the petitioner. So again, of course, it's before you for a design review. Just to give you some background, the item was introduced on October 16th, and the commission does have 45 days to act, which would mean no later than November 30th. So it would be action or an extension as of tonight. So then if Carlos, if you could go to the next slide, that would be great. This is just the general background information that you guys have all seen before. We'll move on to the next slide. So Carlos has put into the slide the updated elevations. When talking with him, he had a discussion with the developer petitioner today. There is an elevation change that has not been represented on this plan as of yet. That the number of king bedrooms are going to be removed and replaced with more doubles. And then there's going to be some sort of elevation articulation, either, another bump in, bump out, but the petitioner will be able to address the design quality or, design choice related to that east elevation. On the next slide, or did you have anything else, Carlos, on the, okay. So then the landscape plan was provided. You can see that here. The thing that we would ask as a condition of the landscape plan is to just make sure that it's, to maximize the use of those native landscaping. So we have to go through and assess what has already been, proposed here. And then, as a condition for approval would just be to maximize the use of the native landscaping. On the next slide, we have already talked about the MSD grading, so there's nothing, anything and same with the cross sections. There's some more grading information, some more revised cross sections. So then we go into the pedestrian plan. You can see in your packets, it might be a little bit easier to read, but there is a very big blown up version of the pedestrian plan and walkability plan. It's kind of deeper into your physical packets, but if you can see on your dais, there's this green line that runs along the west side where it's dashed. The intent of that is to get that as an easement dedicated to the city. And then we have the cross pathway in front of the hotel right there that would go over to the side that's along the eastern side that's along 170. On your packets, there's a red oval that's drawn around the portion along 170. So we are seeking clarification on what side of that, if the path's going to run along the side of the parking lot or along the side of 170. So we're seeking the clarification of getting the, pedestrian plan built out to what it needs to be for staff to have that information. And then there was one more thing that I had on here. Another portion of the conditions of approval were just to look at the exterior lighting and note the controls to set to limit the blue hue. So that was another condition of approval. And then how the patio, which was discussed last meeting, will contain that 6-foot fence enclosure that's partially enclosing the exterior patio consisting of the colors and materials compatible with the hotel structure. So these are just the components that were discussed from the last meeting, and then I can answer any questions as well as Carlos and the petitioner.
I've got a couple of questions. This sounds great, but I want to know what it means exactly. Maximize the use of native landscaping. Does that mean we're checking to make sure the plantings they're using are native? Is that what
Yeah,
that
so
means?
we would,
Okay.
and we have yet to go through the landscape plan like one by one to make sure that we have those. But at least anything within the trees, we were going to be for sure looking for the native plantings just because of the ordinance that's been in place.
Okay, and then eager to hear from the petitioner about the pedestrian, since it looks like there's a path going behind the hotel, which is the opposite of kind of what we talked about, but he's indicated that's not what's happening. So anyway, I'd be eager to hear about that.
I think it's I don't think it'll go, wrapping around the hotel. I think that dashed line that's shown there is supposed to just terminate down at the south portion of the property or of the parcel.
Okay, I'd like to hear more about that.
Yes, sir.
So, and I'll expand, I think in discussions with the applicant and petitioner, and he can discuss, I think we're in consensus that we would have a full loop that kind of runs around between lot 5 and lot 6. So that gets everybody closer to the agreed upon developers agreement in here. We don't know what's going to happen with within lot 5 yet. I mean, he's got some schematics in there. But I think they're willing to do the full loop. As you're along here on the northeast end, we don't know what side of the road it's going to be yet. And that, again, until we get into further details here in there. This southern segment here, what we're asking the developer is that when they, in lieu of an easement, when they, a condition of the approval or part of the subdivision for lot 5, if they go with 2 restaurants, that they have a note in place that they would be willing to allow the city to construct a trail here in there if we ever can run a full trail to access like a parallel with all the way down to 170 to get us to Bond Price Terrace and all that, which is a big feat, but I think just having that ability to do or secure that ability to do now is in the city's best interest. Okay. And I think the developer can probably explain it a little bit, articulated it a little bit better than I can.
Can you put up an aerial of where
Sure.
Bond Terrace is in relationship to that?
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
out of curious. Sorry, I don't have them all memorized yet.
So this is the southern tip
Yep.
of the development area. Here's Bond Price Terrace here.
Oh, okay,
And then here's Citizens Park.
right.
An aspiration, and it's an aspiration because it would be a considerable cost because there's a creek that runs through here, is someday to be able to run a trail parallel with the interstate to a vacant parcel here and connect to the street and allow the ability from connectivity from the south end of the city, really the southeast end of the city northward.
I'm curious, since you have Centennial Greenway right there, I would be surprised if the neighbors in either one of those subdivisions would want to have access that way when they can just go straight to Old Bonham and cross over if they wanted to traverse up to Olive. I don't know, it just,
Doubles theirs,
yeah,
the length of
I,
their.
I realize that. It just, it just seems odd to me.
It's a good question, and I think and these are the discussions for that commission, because again, if connectivity is a priority, is it one type of connectivity, or are we supposed to look for various ways to do the connectivity?
Yeah.
And right now, our parks are not interconnected. And this, while it's not a park, it is one of our major redevelopment centerpieces for the Olive Boulevard corridor, and it's being able to provide that access. Some of the rationale in there is because there's some common ground. Again, it would require a major feat and a commitment of the city if it was ever to happen. However, not providing that opportunity to be considered being that we're at this point.
So would it be in form of an easement?
Not necessarily an easement, just an assurance that if we ever get to that point or can fund that they would be willing to work with us. The developer had something similar on Olive Crossing for if there was ever redevelopment, excuse me, at the Shop Price Crossing west of the development. Something that has a little bit of flexibility. Again, I think it's an aspiration, but I think it's something that, if it's not discussed or put into place, then yes, it probably won't ever happen.
Good. Any other questions or comments? No, we can hear from the petitioner. That'd be great.
Yes, I'll bring him right up. All right.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Greg Yowitz, 6 Heather Hill Lane, here tonight on 8950 Olive. So I'll start with the pedestrian plan since that's what we first hit, and then we'll get to Steve and the elevation. Steve Minton, no relation to Mark Minton of Olivet, but Steve Minton of Springfield, Missouri, with O'Reilly Hospitality, that is our partner and is the lead designer on this project. Jerry, who you heard from last meeting, Jerry Kleinhofer, is an actual she has an architectural firm that executes the drawings and the documents. Steve is in-house at my hotel partners company. Little background.
1 second here, just want to make sure. So again, Mr. Minton, I'm trying to promote you to panelist so that you can speak with the commission. And right now, I'm not sure if he's just not there.
I
Yes.
could text him too.
Yeah, just in case if he stepped away. Oh, there we go.
There we go. Okay. And we'll get to Steve in a minute.
All right. And then Mr. Minton, if you can, when you get prepared to speak, we do need your mic and of course, and also the video visible, and that's more for security reasons. Thank you, sir.
Great. All right. So let's talk about the pedestrian path because yes, as Sam, as you pointed out, it's a little opposite from what I said before. Here's the conversation that Carlos and I had from a big picture Olivet standpoint. I don't think having people behind the hotel at night is a great idea. That said, Carlos explained to me today his vision for what if there could be a way to connect Olive Crossing basically down to Old Bonham. I think personally, it's still not a great idea. However, if the neighbors, and I think Stoneleigh Towers, especially the direct neighbors that border this property, need to be brought into this conversation, and the other neighbors to the south, if they are all on board, and if there is a way to construct it and pay for it, I don't want our project to be the obstacle. So what I told Carlos, and we need to work out a document for how this works, whether it's a commitment from the subdivision entity that controls the development or how we do it, we can figure out. We just had this conversation today. But I wouldn't want us to be the obstacle to this. I still don't like the idea. But if the Stoneleigh Towers neighbors and the Bond, whatever that subdivision to the south is, if they were okay with it, and it's built properly and lighted properly so that it's safe and lit and isn't a nuisance to people, I don't want us to be in the way of that. So if it were simply a dead end, I don't like that idea at all. On the conditional basis, it's a throughway. Again, I don't want to stand in the way of progress for the city. So it's not an easement. It is, we're going to work up some sort of legal document that binds us and the future owner of the hotel, if we ever sell it, to work with the city to allow this to happen. We're not going to build it now because we don't know that it's ever going to happen. And we may put a clock on it that, you know, if it happens in the next 10 or 12 years, great. After 12 years, maybe we figure out it's actually, because the grades there, as Carlos and I've talked about, it may be tough to get a pedestrian pathway that's accessible for all people through there. And then if it's not accessible for all people, should it really be built? That's a bigger picture conversation. So again, this is our sort of conceptual agreement. So if that helps understand what, I didn't sort of change my position. It's a if then maybe, I think so, we could probably be all right with it.
Understood.
All right.
Could it also go on the front side, or is there just no?
There's no room there
No room.
because the pavement for the drive lane is literally up against the property line.
Yeah, got it.
So, and you know, like the hammerhead that you can see in this
Yeah.
at the southern end is for the fire department. We wouldn't ever want a scenario where we're encouraging pedestrian traffic where there's too many cars. So,
Understood.
all right, native plants. Carlos advised me of a desire to have more native plants. I am not a plant person. I hired our landscape company who they're actually, the entity name they have is called, it's like nativelandscape.net is her email address. I couldn't tell you what percentage of these plants are native. We will endeavor to make as many of them as reasonably possible native. However, key thing I pointed out to Carlos is the highlighted orange line along the property line and the fence. Our intention there are arborvitaes or other evergreens. And I don't know if that classifies as a native plant. And what I wouldn't want to do is eliminate those in favor of native plants that don't provide the screening. So you have this thing may be 50% or more native plant. I don't have a clue. I'll talk to I forgot my designer's name. I'll talk to Jerry, the boss who had the plan built for us, but that's sort of where we are with it. Like, we'll do our best. I just don't want to sacrifice the buffer that we've talked about with the neighbors in favor of a species change, if that's cool with you guys.
Yep.
Great. Blue hue on the lighting. I don't actually know what that is. However, I asked Carlos the question, does any of the lighting currently in Olive Crossing have a blue hue problem? And he said, no. Since we're using the same light fixtures, I don't think we're gonna have a problem. So easy to comply with that because we're trying to use a consistent fixture. Nothing should change there. Last item then is the elevation, which now, has Steve moved over?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. So in a minute, Steve Minton, who's an architect with O'Reilly, is going to talk about, he's been marinating on how to do this. And what he came up with was a way to effectively reorder and reorient the rooms inside the hotel. And what that will do is cause very minor shifts in the face that will be aesthetically more pleasing, I think, to your desire to get a breakup. But I'm not an architect, he is, so I'm going to turn it over to him.
Steve, your microphone and
Okay.
camera are.
Okay,
Microphone.
can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you. They want you to turn your camera on.
Yeah, I have a problem. Sorry about that, but my my camera on my laptop does not work. So it was damaged some time ago, and so I don't have that.
Is it all right?
have the
All right, so
video.
it's okay, Steve.
I'm sorry about that.
No
No
worries.
worries. We appreciate that you tried.
They'll all meet you one time when you're up here for the grand opening.
Well, absolutely. And hopefully before then. Well, as Greg mentioned, my name is Steve Minton. I'm an architect, director of architecture for O'Reilly Hospitality here in Springfield. I've worked on around 100 hotels. Been in the architecture business for just over 50 years. That kind of ages me, but that's okay. We're still doing it. So like Greg was just mentioning, he mentioned to me that you all had some questions about the design of the hotel. And so I'm here to answer anything. And if you'd like for me to, I can kind of go ahead and start the discussion and just let you know how this the design of this hotel, the appearance of the hotel, the materials, how that all came about.
Go ahead.
I think, Steve, we want to focus on the east elevation in particular. If you could
Okay.
talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, and I'll lead into this by letting you know that, you know, with these hotels, this is a prototype hotel, which you know, that's kind of where it all starts with the room types, the number of rooms. Actually, we set the number of rooms ourselves, and we adapt the prototype to our own program, which has to do with the height of the hotel, the number of rooms, different spaces. But it all starts with the prototype. This is basically the prototype hotel for the Courtyard by Marriott, with some sort of subtle changes that we have made, again, to adapt to our own program. We have 128 rooms, guest rooms. And so that's where we start. And then we kind of take it from there. But you know, the prototype is it's got three main materials. And you know, that's the eaves material, um, the fiber cement panels, and then there's some metal panel on the backside. But you know, focusing more on the east elevation, there's again, there's two main materials. up here. We feel like the east material it's a nice color. It's kind of a light beige. It works really well. We've added some of the fiber cement panels. We've gone a little bit
Steve-
above
Hey,
and
Steve,
beyond.
Steve,
Yeah,
not to interrupt, but I think we're pretty good with the material choices. Uh,
great, great.
I think, I'll speak for most of the people in the commission. I think we're good with that. And
Okay.
I think one of the things that personally I had was adding some more, if dimension or not dimension, I'm not sure what the right word is. Pardon? Relief or
Articulation.
articulation to that
Mhm.
east elevation was kind of something I wanted to see if that was possible.
Okay. What we've done, and actually we were working on it in the last couple of days. I didn't quite be able to get it up to Greg before this meeting, but we have adjusted our room mix a little bit by putting some, and I don't want to get too technical here, but without a plan in front of us, but we've added some of the double queen rooms, which are the longer rooms, to the front side. You can see that the left portion of the east elevation, I'm sure that might be part of your concern, is it's kind of repetitive. It's got, the same kind of plane elevation. The right side, I think, is really interesting. It's got several ins and outs and shadow lines and different planes on the building. The left side, we thought, well, maybe we could address that some. So what we have done, and we'll be sending this up, but we've added a few more, I think 5 more rooms of the queen doubles, which are longer by 4 feet, to the left side, the far left side of the east elevation. By doing that, it gives us a really nice shadow line about halfway through that on that mass, on that building mass. Yeah, approximately there. Um, and so we've got this nice break in the building plane that will, that in elevation, you don't see it. In real life and in perspective, you'll see it more. And so, we think that was a nice thing to do. Um,
Good.
yeah,
Correct.
and we've actually done it. I know you're not too concerned about the north elevation, but we have added quite a bit of the fiber cement panel on the north side, which is, I think that's going to be a very visible side. As you're driving to the hotel, everybody comes from the north. So the you see the light ephes panel on the right-hand side. That's a stairway on the inside, on the right hand, over to the right, far right. There you go. Yeah, that's all now the fiber cement panel. So we've added quite a bit to that. We think it's a good thing what we've done, and it turns the corner. So we've added the fiber cement panel there. We've adjusted the rooms over on the east, and I really like this hotel. I think it's a select service hotel, and it's one of the best looking, attractive select service hotels I think there are in the brands. And we do full service hotels. I did the Embassy at St. Charles, but we also do the smaller select service, like Hampton Inns, Home to, and they're getting really busy. Too many materials used, too many different colors. This is I'm really glad that the courtyard, um, the Courtyard brand has really stuck to, the three main colors, materials, textures. I think it's a really attractive hotel.
Good, good, good. I would love to kind of see what those would look like. I don't know if you have a sketch or something.
So Steve's gonna turn my mic back on. So it's gonna take another week or so to get the rendering done, especially with Thanksgiving.
Yeah, yeah.
And so my thought was, if you all are willing to take action, subject to either A, seeing a revision, B, the revision being in line with what Steve described and staff checking the box, and then of course showing it to you.
Yes.
I think you all know me after 20 years of building stuff in Olivet. If I tell you I'm going to do something, we're going to do it. And
Right.
so Steve's in the middle of producing this document. We just couldn't get it. He couldn't get it done by now. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry about that. We've come close. We are working on it right now. And I think it's really an improvement. I really do. I think it's helped. We've tried to react to your comments, and we appreciate your comments because, like I said, I think we've really improved the building.
Good,
So if
good.
you're comfortable, my hope is that you're comfortable moving forward with our commitment to make these revisions. The other things we talked about relative to the agreement on the pedestrian path. I don't think we have a blue hue issue because we're using the lights we already use. And then we'll do our best with the native plants.
Right.
But I think it's a good looking plan to begin with, done by a company that is named Native Landscapes. So
The only pushback will be that barrier, those arboreta.
arborvitae. Yeah, if those aren't, we'll see what the percentage of the native land, it
Yeah.
may be that we're already compliant because everything else there's so much native that those arborvitaes or evergreens or whatever I don't even know what they are,
Right.
don't matter in the math. And I don't believe the ordinance specifies a percentage. You have our commitment. We'll do what we can to make it as native as possible without destroying the intent of the landscape plan that you're going to approve.
Right.
If hopefully you approve. Does that work?
Well, we'll.
If you all, that's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
You guys tell me.
Go ahead, Tim.
I'm sorry, Greg, I got two more things. One is the buffer between a fence or anything between 170 and your property. I drove by it a couple times. I couldn't quite tell, and I wasn't willing to get out of my car on 170 and
Which you should not do.
so what I would like to see, if everybody's okay with it, that we guarantee that there's 6 feet of barrier that's at least 6 foot from the ground to 170.
Oh, 6 foot high.
6 foot high. That somewhere in there that you have a barrier that, whether it's MSD or whether it's
MoDOT or, yeah.
MoDOT or you, that all the way along your property, there's 6 foot barrier.
Yeah, I'm
which
fine.
think
I mean,
is
it's, yeah,
fair.
and most of what MoDOT controls, they have chain link on.
Mhm.
And this is the low spot that you and I think we were all talking about last
Mhm.
time. I was actually not sure what type of fence to use there. And I haven't really talked to Steve about it. I don't love chain link. It is a barrier. We're certainly not going to do site proof, right? That's not going to make any sense because we want to be able to see the hotel. And then in areas like this, where there's a 4-foot wall, I don't know, we might hear.
But you're dipping down right before that wall though, too, as well. So you probably are 6 foot.
Right, there
That's
may
what I
be
was trying to
sections where it's
figure
not
out.
an issue, right? In some areas, it's well more than 6 feet already. But yes, we want there not to be the ability for someone at the hotel to, if for whatever reason, run out and run onto the highway. So
Exactly.
even if it's chain link to match MoDOT,
Something that
we may try to find something a little
Right.
nicer.
Yes.
we would like it nicer, right?
Yes.
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 Could I ask a question? Is that the purpose of the barrier, for security or safety?
Yes, safety.
Safety.
Okay, very
Yeah,
good.
so Steve, can you see the picture on the screen?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, so we're real close to grade of the highway on the southern, I'd say 30 to 40% of the hotel property, which will have a road on it that gets pretty close to the MoDOT property line. And we just, the commission wants to make sure nobody's likely going to jump from the highway onto the hotel, but if there's kids running in the parking lot, that little guardrail you can see in the photo is not enough.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. It's a good idea.
Great. Yeah, happy to add that. Second
Yeah.
thing?
Second thing is, how did you come up with how many accessible rooms are in the hotel? And is that code or and how many do you have?
Steve, can you answer on how many accessible rooms we have in the hotel and how we determine that?
It's it's ADA requirement. We always go by the required number. Jerry can actually answer that better than me because she's very averse to it. I mean, versed to it, but we will have all the required um, uh, ADA rooms.
Perfect.
And one thing I want to also add that I don't know if I've told Steve this, but I've talked to Tim O'Reilly, who's O'Reilly Hospitality Management, about. I would like personally to find a way at a minimum on our first floor, because Steve, you may be hearing about this from me for the first time, or you may say, oh, no, Greg, you already told me this.
Mhm.
Most current hotels all use electronic key cards. We have a significant observant Orthodox Jewish population in this area. If there is a way for us to integrate manual keys as overrides to the digital cards,
Mhm.
personally, I want to do that so that our hotel is welcoming to everybody. Likely only on the first floor because observant Jews can't use the elevator on Shabbat. This is just for Friday nights and Saturdays because they can't push the buttons. And in Israel, the elevators move on their own during that time. Here, that we wouldn't do that. But I've talked to Tim. We haven't researched if it's available. My hope is that it is available.
Mhm.
And so we could do that to a certain number of rooms. Again, the more reasons, this has always been our theme with Olive Crossing. Why? We want to have as many reasons why you want to come to Olive Crossing and Olivet as we can create. And if we have a unique environment where the observant Jew on Shabbat can use our hotel, it's good for them and it's
Oh.
good for the community. So I don't know,
Sure.
Steve, if you've heard me talk about that before, but it's just one of my missions I want to integrate into the hotel.
FYI, St. Luke's out in Chesterfield has elevators that stop on every floor automatically on Fridays and Saturdays.
Oh,
Just-
well, there you go.
Yeah, so,
Oh.
So it might be doable for us too.
They call them
Will-
Shabbat elevators.
Yeah, they're Shabbat
yeah,
elevators.
and they advertise it
Yeah.
on, in the elevator bay.
Yeah. So I just wanted to tell you that like accessibility plus is one of our things. So
Yeah.
happy to answer
Yes.
any other questions.
Anyone else?
It's a great idea.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate it. All right, now if there's any public comments related to this agenda item, please raise your hand. If you have a question or comment online, please push the raise your hand button. I see nobody in the audience that wishes to speak on this. Carlos?
No one as of yet, sir.
Okay, great. Any discussion about some of these things? The only thing, how comfortable are we with kind of entertaining, approving this without seeing the actual elevation? I mean, I'm the one that brought up the elevation, so I'm personally fine as that we're getting some articulation to it, but you know, I would like to be able to default back if we all disagree and don't like it, we default back to the original one. Yeah, if that's an idea, throwing it out for discussion.
So we'd look at this, we'd approve it, then we'd look at it again and say, do we like the reiteration or the first one
Yes.
correctly?
However you guys feel. I mean,
I think I'm sorry, if they're saying they're gonna do it, you can see like with the west elevation, what an articulation looks like. And I don't see any point in dragging this out, for another 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Personally, they've responded, they said they're gonna do it. We have an idea of what it's gonna look like because we have the west elevation. I don't think there's any reason to have to come back. That's just my personal
I would
opinion.
say Carlos is comfortable hearing what we want to do to say that that's, I would say it's more on Carlos if you're comfortable.
No, I have a good understanding of what Mr. Minton's kind of described in there. And if we you know, that if the commission authorizes that we take a look at it, we'll still bring it back in there so the commission's informed. But I think I know what you're looking for, and as long as that there's a break
Right,
in there.
right. Okay, good, good. Okay, that being said, any other further discussion on this? Appreciate all the efforts in listening to us and going through this. So at this point in time, do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Go ahead, Sam.
Motion to approve a petition for design review in accordance with section 400.2180 for construction of a four-story hotel totaling 75,365 square feet for lot 6 in accordance with ordinance 2675 and 2725 as presented in the memorandum from the Department of Planning and Community Development dated November 20th, 2025, subject to any staff conditions noted therein. And then I'm also going to add the 6-foot high barrier that Tim mentioned, as well as final approval of the east elevation changes discussed by staff.
There is a point of question. I think it's about 6 foot or no, go ahead.
So we talked about this actually in relation to lot 3. The square footage is really specific, and if this shift is going to happen of a couple feet of the room sticking out on like the second, third, and fourth floors, could we say either totaling approximately 75365 or close to, or not more than 76?
I'll give you a foot either way. Is that okay?
I didn't, there are,
I think approximately would be.
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's oddly specific, and we know there's change coming.
Yeah.
That's all.
Approximately 75,365 square feet.
Okay, great. Motion's been made by Sam Wallach. Do we hear a second?
Second.
And seconded by Tim Spiegelglass. Carlos, you please call the vote.
Yes, Chairman. Commissioner Spiegelglass?
Approve.
Let me stop here so you can see. All right. Commissioner Ford,
Approved.
Commissioner Powell,
Approve.
Commissioner Wallach,
Approved.
Commissioner Jurgel.
Approved.
The motion passes unanimously. The next step is, of course, submitting the revision of the elevation and then discussions with for submitting for a permit in there. And
Very
then,
good.
given the opportunity while you're here, are there any updates you'd like to give the commission or while you're a real quick opportunity?
Updates, let's see. One, Paris Baguette and Brass Tap are under construction. Been some challenges with county permitting. I think the Verizon store contractors has started mobilizing. Tropical Smoothie, I think, is still in for permit. Have you guys haven't issued those yet? They're in, yeah, so they're in for review. I'm negotiating a term sheet for the last space, which hopefully will happen soon. And my hope is that in January, I'll be able to publicly announce the first restaurant for the north end of Lot 5, which will confirm our change to our development plan that we are no longer building the 6-story office building, and we'll be going with 2 nice restaurants. I heard it from another one today who said, "Oh, maybe we should be here." And I said, "Yes, I think you should." I can't say who it was, but if they come, you'll be really happy. So, because I get to pick the food that I know that I and my neighbors want in our city. So yeah, things are moving along quite nicely. Aldi's doing exceedingly well. And we're working on just wrapping up the construction of the Lot 3 building. I don't have timetables from the tenants for their opening dates yet because their contractors doing their work.
How's the apartment complex?
Oh, we're 87% occupied, I believe. We fluctuate between about 85 and 95. People move in and out, get job transfers and whatever. I think you all know we won. I think we've won actually 4 national and international awards for the design of our public space and lobby. HOK did a bang up job. We were top 6 in the world for lobby and amenity space from I forgot which design publication, and they just sent me HOK. Just if you look on HOK's LinkedIn page, we just received another award over a year later. So they did a bang up job with that design. So
Right. Thanks for the updates.
sure.
Appreciate it. I do too. Yeah. Okay, we'll move on to new business. Item A, 4 Homestead Acres Street. Jack?
Hello again, Commission. So before you tonight is 4 Homestead Acres Street. This is up for community design and concept stormwater management review. Site plan is not required. However, the Commission does hold the right for site plan review. And as our review process happens, I still look at all of the improvement plans based off of the submissions and every standard. It's just based off of the code and the way that the fees are. But the lot size makes it exempt from site plan review. Primary staff concerns just came up with tree preservation. I'll go into that a little bit later. Nothing significant. We're just requesting an additional, an upgrade or a revision to the tree protection and replacement plan. Stormwater management, the only concern was that we're still awaiting comments from the city's stormwater consultant. Their detention pit is going to be located in the northeastern portion of the front yard. Carlos, if you could go to the next slide, that would be great. I know. Oh, I lied. That one. Yes. So this is the concept stormwater management plan that was submitted. The orange box shows the location of where the detention facility is going, that they're proposing a dry well. The maroon box up top is the pop-up emitter, 10 feet from the property line on to the north and to the east. And then all of the blue lines are their 6-inch PVC piping that's connecting from the downspouts to that flow well. Other concerns, so the only concern for stormwater was just making sure that we get the consultant's comments, and then as a condition of approval that the petitioner reviews that, and then if there's anything necessary, it addresses those revisions.
Any known water issues with the neighborhood?
Carlos, you.
It's a tough street because there's no curb and gutter. So all that water from Homestead, we've had when the adjacent home to the east was built, kind of a little bit more contemporary type of home. We had concerns from people off of Lynn Court, I believe is the subdivision. So we'll take a close look, with the consultant on this because the detention pit should improve and reduce the volume and the amount. It's the grading that would be the next concern.
Sounds good.
So,
And just to also reiterate, or what Carlos was speaking on concerns, mailings were sent out and nothing has come back from any of the neighbors within 300 feet of the property for concerns about anything related to the home. Just there were some components with design principles that stood out. It's just because of the way that the design principles are written, I have to make you guys aware of this. The masonry, in the way that the design principle states is that masonry should wrap around the side of the elevations and terminate at least 5 feet from the edge of the nearest projection. The only concern is that elevation there, the left-turn one, it does wrap. It's just, I have to make you guys aware of the 5 feet there. And then in terms of the roof pitch, the proposed primary roof pitch exceeds the 10 to 12 pitch that's noted in the design principles. However, the architect did provide a statement regarding the design choice for the roof. And I will read her statement here in the packet. She just noted that the primary roof pitch of the new home shall not be greater than, that's what the design principle says. She stated that just to note that on the 12-12 roof slope, it is mainly driven by the Cape Cod cottage aesthetic of the 1 to 1 and 1.5 story with the dormers and need to get the adequate second floor space within that roof. She just wanted to also note just while neighbors on the either side do not have higher slopes, many of the surrounding homes have 12-12 slopes, but these are also, homes that are not within this particular subdivision. But it's something that has been seen within Olivet. The other concern that just came up as a condition of approval was to just make sure that we get a construction traffic access management plan for this property, just because of how tight Homestead Acres Street is. And then also just that we, as a condition of approval, have the street trustee coordination with the street trustees on the plans of maintenance and repair deposits regarding the construction impacts on that private street. That's something that the commission had also imposed on 1124 Magnet earlier this, I want to say last year, was just due to the tightness of Magnet as well. Also, there was concerns. Now we'll go into the tree preservation. Carlos, if you could go to, I think it's the last slide right before the motion. Sorry. Yes. Okay. So the tree plan on the left is depicting the locations of what's to be removed, what's in poor condition, where the fencing is going, and what's being preserved. On the right is based on the proposed canopy. So with the newly adopted ordinance, a property of this size would have to have a minimum of 8 replacement trees. The petitioner has already provided 3 replacement trees on that plan, all native species, as well as they're preserving B1. B1 is the, I have it in here real quickly. It's a pretty prominent tree, you know, in the front of the property. We do have, as on the front of your staff report, is that the petitioner must update the tree protection replacement plan. And then also, oh, where was this? I'm so sorry. There, just do like a routine check-in of the protection standards and then making sure that that tree stays unobstructed during the construction and demolition process. Also regarding the trees, so in total, that significant tree B1 will count towards the replacement credit, as well as G and K that they are also preserving in the back. When doing the review, I went off of all of the trees that are considered significant, like our ordinance states of 8 inches or more DBH. And then I did it based off of how the surveyor has the trunk fully on the property. So I'm not giving them replacement credit towards anything that's considered shared or anything that has a trunk that's not on 4 Homestead Acres Street. Of course, we would love the fact that they're preserving all of those trees along that property line and having the fencing in place. However, the credit will count towards B1, G, and K, as well as the 3 replacements that they have. So in total, they would have to replace 2 more trees, and that's why we're requesting the tree protection and replacement plan be updated to show the 2 additional replacement trees added to that inventory list. In terms of that, you will also see just in their plan, you did get a landscape plan. This is different than what's on the ordinance. This is showing all of the different shrubs. This is provided by Baxter Gardens. Great plan. However, as when we got revisions, the new tree plan came in and we need to have that cleared up between what tree inventory they're going off of. I went off of the report based off of the Frontenac Forestry, what was submitted on the newest revisions, but this Baxter one does depict other trees, and we want to just get that clarified of which tree planting schedule we're going off of.
So if you go with the Baxter, do they have enough trees?
I would say I ran the numbers yesterday and I don't remember off the top of my head, but I think that the Baxter one also did have a decent amount of them that were not considered native. So there were some concerns with that. And then let me just pull this up real quickly if I can see here. So yeah, I can get you the information, run the numbers again. But my understanding is I would think it came out pretty, you know, I think 2 still on both. I would have to look if the requirements, just because I think I'd have to total the, you know, the ones that are not considered native on there and then eliminate because they would not count towards the replacement quantity. So I can go that and then
What kind of trees are they? They're the ones that aren't native.
that are not native on this list.
Yeah.
Well, there's the I don't think the Dragon Lady holly is not native. The cherry ones are not native. The white dogwood is native. The Taylor juniper, I think, under my understanding from the botanical garden, is considered native. So there's just some certain ones on here that I'd have to look versus what is not.
It's very impressive that you know that.
I've done all my tree research.
Yeah.
Yep. I know I started here when the ordinance was in place and now I'm learning it. So
Good.
here we go. Other than that, I can answer any questions as well as staff and the petitioners here as well.
Just to be clear, that material on the front of the house, that's all brick?
Yes, that's
The
my,
entire front is.
yeah,
brick,
my
right?
understanding is it is
Brick veneer.
brick veneer.
Okay, brick veneer.
Or
Yes.
it'll look like brick.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the same thing.
Great.
Carlos, can you go back to the stormwater real fast?
Good.
I'm good.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions or comments with staff?
One thing, if I can ask Mr. Carlson, and I apologize in there, but the number of trees that still are below the required for the lot was 2, you said?
Are you talking about the number that is for replace? Yeah, they 2 right now.
Okay, so what I will note to the commission in this is within that I mean, the petitioners submitted a landscape plan, but and we appreciate that in there, but they're supposed to submit the arborist plan, the tree protection and replacement plan. And in there, when Mr. Carswell went through that, found that they were too short. Now, the commission has the authority to consider alternatives in here. I think they've done a nice job to provide additional landscaping along the perimeter of the home, that the commission does have the authority to waive if there's just too many trees, there's not enough space to add more trees,
Exactly.
that the commission can acknowledge the landscaping that the petitioner's proposing.
Or the
Uh,
shared trees on both sides,
Pardon?
or the shared trees that are, kind of. on
And
both
then
sides of the property.
then we start getting, it becomes a little bit more difficult if it's off-site. I mean,
I'm with you.
that is up to the commission. It's
But
for you guys to discuss. Yeah.
If this homeowner can't count it, then the next one can't
Count it.
count it.
Very true.
Then it seems like,
So, well, that being said, if those that are going to be the shared trees to be maintained and this landscaping plan, in that, I think it's a reasonable give and take in the way that ordinance was written.
Yeah.
We just didn't talk, we didn't talk about it, and I didn't think about it until now, so.
Is the position being taken by the petitioner that they can't fit more?
No,
trees?
and they'll be able to address that.
okay, right.
So I got one more thing. So, and I'm confused. So is B1 the tree that we're keeping, the nice tree?
Yes, the large one in the front of the
So
property.
isn't that right where you're putting the detention area?
I think it's a little, the way that it's shown,
Within, it's right, well, it's right next
It-
to the campus.
the circle to the north of Carlos, I don't know, where's your cursor at? Yes, right there. That's where the trunk is of the tree.
Let me.
It was the proposed plan can be a little hard to read just because they imposed the proposed plan on top of the existing plan. And we asked when it gets submitted for a building permit to clarify that, to make them two separate plans for legibility purposes.
Okay, if there's no further questions right now, we'll hear from the petitioner. If you can make it up here.
Tim Conway.
Yeah.
Doug Cohen, Douglas Properties, 1025 South McKnight Road. This house is actually pretty much a replica of the house that my wife and I live in on McKnight Road, and it's truly a remarkable house that my wife keeps redecorating. She's watching. This is going to be, this is probably one of the nicer lots in the 63132 zip code, and I fully believe this is going to be one of the nicest homes in the community when we're all said and done. It's really going to be really cool. It's not sold yet, and actually, I have hardly marketed it yet. But I have a question on because other municipalities, we kind of run into this in Creve Coeur when a house is started and there's landscape restrictions and things like that, and then the house is sold, and then the homeowner says, I want to substitute this to that, and things like that. I mean, I think this is a somewhat new landscape or tree ordinance, I think, so there's going to be some growing pains here, but I mean, if I were buying a $2 million house, I would, and there's already been a permit issued with a landscape plan, I would surely hope that there's some flexibility with the new owner to come in and meet with the staff and substitute a landscape plan that is not, deficient. It's sure it's going to be, adequate. But
As long as it has the native plants.
yeah, and my family was in the landscape business of suburban gardens, but I'm embarrassed to say, what does a native plant mean?
How are we defining it?
So we're defining it based off of the Missouri Botanical Gardens list of native trees. So we're taking it from the Missouri Botanical Gardens list that defines, they have a list of 30 different trees on there. So you can click on each one and then go into it, and it'll tell you which part of Missouri they're native to, and the conditions, they're subject to galls or subject to certain sickness, but they have a suggestion list of some plethora amount of trees.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so if there's a requirement, if there's a requirement of the number of trees and the number of native, I was gonna say Native American, but native trees, then I would assume that the new buyer would come in with a plan to get approved without coming back here, that the staff would be able to review that and approve it and, or adjust it or whatever without having,
Yeah.
is that how it's going to work?
Yeah, I would think so.
Because I would surely not to hope
Unless
to
it's-
cram something down someone's throat like
Right.
that.
I don't think that's the intent.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, we can forward the link. And again, one of the goals of the city is to advocate and push for more native landscaping, and that the way the ordinance is written and now really pushes that as in there. While I understand the concern, we're not saying what tree specifically, but the Missouri Botanical Gardens does have a good list of native landscaping.
So native means Missouri common, sir?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
So
And what if, and what happens during off-season?
My understanding is that if they're native, they're,
No, like 6 inches of snow on the ground.
Oh, I think we tell, there's certain months that,
Oh, yeah.
Things.
yes.
Oh, yeah, the ordinance lists, the months that you were subject. For sure. Is it from the Missouri?
Yeah,
Botanical Gardens?
they're correct. Following the recommendations from the gardens, they're 2 months in the winter that we won't allow or authorize for the tree plantings.
Just the native plantings. Is that
Well,
what
this
you're
is
saying?
the plantings in general. And then also 2 months, I think, in the middle of summer that just aren't good times for planting.
So if we have a freakishly, so those, St. Louis weather, it's challenging, so I don't know if I agree with that, because you could have 70-degree weather in January, or you can have 30-degree weather in November.
I think we should move on past.
Yeah, in progress
Yeah,
with
okay.
that.
But bottom line is you can give a temporary occupancy permit to resolve.
Absolutely.
Okay, that was my main question.
I think that's
Okay.
where you're.
All right, all right. Anything else?
I was approached by one of the other commission members. We always enjoy you're bringing in new developments into all of that. We know you do, good work, but there are some concerns about the fact that the development across the street is kind of delayed, or it's not progressing as fast as either we expected or what we hoped for,
Mhm. I would say up until 6 months ago, it was on a snail's pace. I think I had a number of issues that have all been overcome. And I would say that right now we're on an amazing path where the infrastructure is basically done. We have 3 of the 8 sold, and I'll have the display done in about 2 months. I fully expect once that display is done, they'll fall like dominoes. But I'm surely not going to build all 33 and wait for the phone to ring.
Right. And that makes sense.
Yeah.
But, like is there anything that can be done with like the fences, that kind of close off that sidewalk? Either kind of put your streets in, your sidewalks in, and kind of move the fences back.
Yeah, exactly. We just got the county permit today to do the approach and get the plate out of the way. So that's all happening within the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then I have to have one of the bigger problems is that the engineer and architect over-designed and over-engineered the project from the beginning without concern of my wallet. And the original foundations came in at almost twice the cost of what it needed to be. So I had to fire the engineer, bring in a new engineer. Now we have it all engineered in a much more conservative way that will allow nonstop progress based on sales. So it's going to be an awesome project. It definitely has taken slower, frustrating for me too, but like I said, the last 6 months have been really terrific with a significant cash injection. And like I said, we hope to see everybody there at the open house in early January or so.
What do you anticipate, with each of the next buildings? I know you can't predict.
So we're like I said, the 4-unit building that is furthest north, we're looking to drywall that in a week or so. And like I said, 2 of those are sold, and the third one will be my display. And then we're framing building 6, The framing part is, and one of those is already sold. The framing portion, I mean, I'm sure, barring weather, we'll probably be under roof in 6 weeks there. I feel more comfortable. That's 3 of 8 that are sold. And so one more, and then I'm definitely moving forward with the foundations. We have financing all set for that. So foundation the way it is foundation, underground pit, and so along. So all those pits are done. So I anticipate submitting building 5 foundation within the next few days. And if I can get a timely review of that, I'll start it right away. And so the progress is definitely going north to south.
What do you think's helping with the pace now compared to before?
A couple of things. Like I said, one is re-engineering, so it's a little more palatable to my wallet. I had an individual put in $2 million, and I lost my train of thought. What was the question?
Oh, what's
What helping me get better
Yes.
pace? Okay, yeah. Well, the review process is challenging. I will say that very challenging. The plan reviewer is very, very particular that in what he's reviewing, and that's led to a lot of frustrations. But I think we understand how he's looking at things now. I hope,
Good.
but it's very challenging. More so than I could think of any municipality that I've dealt with, and I deal with them all. But I think we have a grasp on that. We definitely have the grasp on the engineering. And then, like I said, I really feel the market is solid as long as there's no nuclear war. And I really feel that once that display is done, because most of the buyers are waiting. I mean, it's pretty gutsy to buy a $800,000-$900,000 townhouse without seeing it. Just the ones that have seen it, that are buying it, they're faithing me. Once the display is done, then I really think they'll fall like dominoes.
when will the display be done? You said 3 months?
About 2 months.
2 months? Very good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, we're happy to hear the news that, there, but we'd like to, like I said, if there's what we can do to move.
Well, what you can do, I got an idea for all of you, is that during my grand opening, I'm going to be spending, some money for the grand opening. And I had mentioned this to Carlos a couple of months ago, is that, yeah, the city, I've been to all different, cities, whatever, and that this city has an amazing growth going on with what Greg's doing with everything on Olive Street Road. I mean, to have the weekend that I'm launching, to have a weekend of a festival, what do you call it, food court, everything going on at the same time, would be an amazing event. If there was some sort of a committee that I can get the city backing to help with that. I mean, all those commercial outfits to have booths here in the parking lot, expose everything that's going on in Olivet. I think that would be just an amazing joint venture that the city could do.
Interesting idea.
Mm-hmm.
So, not sure how it could be done, but it's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's every municipality does it, so I think
Right.
that this one, would be a good idea for this municipality to get on board with that too.
Very good. Any other further questions from commission members? All right, we'll
Thanks.
take some public comments. Thank you. Any public comments on this item? Go ahead, sir.
Good evening. I'm Richard Boswell. I'm here with my wife, Amy Joseph. We're the owners at 6 Homestead Acres, which is just to the east of 4 Homestead Acres. We look
On the screen, is it to the
Yeah.
left or to the right? To the
to the
left.
left there, the contemporary house to the left.
Yes.
I'm a trustee. We talked with all of our neighbors at a homeowners association meeting. The tree came up and I sent a memo to Carlos and he connected with Doug. Doug said he'd rework it. He did. So I appreciate that. And we're hoping, I understand there's an issue with the roots, but that tree is an anchor for our little community. And big canopy, we all love it. Just wanted to make that point. What I've learned here this evening, can you go to the pit? This looks really concerning for me. You can see my driveway, and my driveway slopes down. And the person that lives on beneath me. When the rain gets really bad, it almost floods his house. So I don't know what to do with that. The pit idea, our other neighbor has that, and we facilitated the runoff for him, for that neighbor, and it's working, I think. I'm not sure what to do. It might be helpful for me and my wife to get some input from the engineers that are looking at this so that we know what's going to happen, because we are downhill.
Yeah, yeah.
That would be my request.
Carlos, can we have the stormwater consultant kind of take that in consideration?
That might be really helpful.
Great.
I think it'd be also helpful for the neighbors to understand
Yeah, yeah.
what's going on with it.
Great.
But we welcome the house. It looks like it'll be a really good addition to the neighborhood.
Fantastic.
Okay,
Thank you for your
thanks.
comments. Appreciate it. Anyone else have any public comments? Seeing none in the audience, Carlos, you please check online.
I don't believe there's anybody online unless Ms. Cohen has some questions.
Okay, we'll give it a couple more seconds in case anybody wants to raise their hand. Otherwise, any further discussion amongst commission members? Do I hear a motion? Go ahead, Sam.
I'll make a motion. Motion to approve a petition for a community design and concept stormwater management review for a new single-family home at 4 Homestead Acre Street, as presented in the memorandum from the Department of Planning and Community Development dated November 20th, 2025, subject to any staff conditions noted therein.
Motion's been made by Sam Wallach. Do I hear a second?
Second.
And seconded by, sorry, Felicia Ford. Thank you. Carlos, you please call the vote.
Commissioner Spiegelglass,
Approve.
Commissioner Ford,
Approved.
Commissioner Powell,
Deny.
Commissioner Wallach,
Approved.
Commissioner Jurgell.
Approved.
So the motion passes 4-1.
All right. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to item B, which is 9321 Olive Boulevard, Mercy Ambulatory Pharmacy. Who's taking this? Carlos? Oh, gone. There we go.
Hello, Commission. What we have here in front of you is something that will require no action this evening, but we want to put some considerations in front of you for this project. We've had a business request to locate at Mercy Mercy Ambulatory Pharmacy as requested to locate at 9321 Olive Boulevard. This is we'll be considering a special use permit for this business. And if you approve, which we are not taking action tonight, but if you approve in the very near future, then it would go on to council for to be approved as a special use permit. It is an LID zone property. It's one of the larger properties in the city of Olivet, recently vacated by US Bank, which had their they didn't have a whole lot of cars there a lot of the time, and they kind of left fairly quietly. They weren't all that great about renewing their business licenses or reporting their number of employees. So while we had a general idea of how many employees they had, we don't necessarily know. As far as the opportunity and for Mercy Ambulatory Pharmacy to come into this building, maybe a good fit. It is a retail pharmacy that fills and dispenses medications, her specialty medications. There's no drive-through. Wanted to put that out there. The city is requesting, or we're looking for this to be our opportunity to improve that frontage along Olive, improve the egress to the, to and from the property, specifically, and I think the next slide is probably what I'm looking for. So this is kind of my, or I didn't put this slide together, but this is a really good summary of what we're looking for you to consider. We want to understand the definition or how Mercy Ambulatory Pharmacy defines that ambulatory. What does that mean specifically? Does it affect the operations on site, or is it purely ambulatory products, and care? What does that mean though for the actual use of the facility? And these can be kind of, when you're asking businesses questions like these, we're just trying to nail down exactly what they're doing on site. And the questions seem kind of general, so it's very, that's not what they're expecting, right? They don't have to think about their use on site, but that's what we are hyper focused on. We would also need to know, and the list is there, their number of employees. We want to know if the ownership of the building will change. If they will, we assume they will be leasing the facility, what the terms of the lease are, and, if they are, doing an option to lease to own. The chapter, the street improvements, and building exterior improvements are pursuant of chapter 428. That's our 950-foot buffer from the center line of Olive that, has a higher level of standards for the design of the building and their frontage on Olive. So this picture here, where you see the boxes, the top box, we would want to move that entrance further up north and this is on its side. Okay, so north is to your left. And that is Dealman Industrial there along the northern end, right? To move that entrance up would help the business would help prevent cars from stacking up and blocking that entrance completely, but also, as or getting traffic backed up on Olive can be very problematic. So the box at the bottom of the screen is more of future thinking, where if Taco Bell at some point is redeveloped, then we would want to consolidate those aprons off of Olive and align that entrance with the Llewellyn, which is across the street. As far as, I think the two last things are the exterior lighting standards, which are explicit in chapter 428. And we want to know more about their sustainability features, what they would propose in their operations and facility.
Can I ask a question about the sustainability piece? Why aren't we having them why aren't we going to request them to put in /sidewalk/bike path in the front of this building the way we're doing, other properties? And it seems like if we're going to get a refurbishment of that front landscaping, now is the time to get them to put in. And then eventually if Taco Bell falls, we can keep adding to the sidewalk/bike path along Olive and meet some of our goals that we talk about here.
That's part of the streetscape. Right?
There are the streetscape that is in that green circle there. They do illustrate, and it's hard to tell from this illustration given the size of the property, but they are proposing that it widens that sidewalk area and increases the curb cut at Dealman and Dealman Industrial and Olive.
I mean, I
If
think
I'm
that
not
would be nice
mistaken.
to, have that more interesting than just basically a very large curb.
Well, that
Have
is kind
such a
of,
large front lot there. It seems like it would be neat to have something undulating or, something that would make it more interesting.
that is actually what we're requesting.
Okay,
Yeah, is
Okay.
that they are more specific on what they are going to bring to the table as far as the street frontage there and improvements.
I also think it's a great idea for when these developments happen is to have this so that there is cross ventilation with other properties to the side so that traffic is not so, here's another stop, here's another stop. And so I think that's a good move for us. I don't know why we can't have that go ahead and be effectuated with Taco Bell in terms of entrance. I mean, developments
It's-
do it all the time.
It's possible that we could, request a discussion.
Yeah.
You'd lose some parking spots in Taco Bell, but
I mean, really, how many Taco Bell spaces does Taco Bell really need? I mean, it's kind of a scary place anyway. But yeah, I mean, I think that's just a good policy to have and I think it's good that we would require that. It's all.
So I'll note a couple of things. So the city does have streetscape standards that are adopted, and those are, given the size of the parcel, they submitted conceptually for the commission to understand that they would be willing to provide that streetscape consistent with what we've seen at the Mobile or at the Oliver or in front of CVS.
Will they be doing the street lighting too, like Mobile has? Because
Yes,
I noticed.
it would, it would be per the code.
Okay, cool.
So it is part of the request in there. And then again, we'll have more discussion. We talked with them about that and we're bringing that. In terms of the access points, the city is doing some improvements here. And again, this is rotated in there with this being south and then this being the eastern side. We're adding an additional turn lane here. And just for the purposes of car queuing, it would be ideal to move this apron just a bit north, so at least 2 or 3 cars can queue without blocking their internal access to get through exit. For this, we have an Olive Boulevard corridor master plan, and what the plan has us doing is at least securing the necessary easements or agreements to make improvements in there. We have 2 aprons almost back to back. And they're, combining, one or the other, disrupting the Taco Bell where it's not doing anything is probably not within our best interest, but to be able to secure similar to what we've done at the Shop Surprise Crossing, what we did with CVS, what we've done with Mobile, we're asking to be able to do it. This is just to secure the necessary easements. So when there is a development, there's that opportunity to combine those. I think ideally, to have one entrance directly across from what is this, a residential street called Llewellyn, in there. And, whatever future happens for Taco Bell, that, that they have some type of T intersection. So they both have full access points to some type of public way. But I think at this point, our goal is not to seek to have them construct that right now because they have a next door neighbor that isn't doing anything in there.
can we set it up so it can be flexible or mutually beneficial where
That's what we want to
maybe-
talk to,
yeah.
and we're willing to discuss it. I think tonight is for the commission, like
Introduction.
is, and yes, we've been informed and educated on what ambulatory processes for pharmacies. So the commission, if there's any questions, well, we know the employment counts and all that, and the ownerships. We'd like you guys to hear it and introduce the team. I think they will make great residents to our community, and to be able to reutilize. This is a good building. If you recall from our comprehensive plan, our goal in this area has not been to create more retail. This is an office working area. We enjoy our community having a balance tax base, and we have our retail, it's up by 170. We have our, our, uh, our smaller retail, out by our city center in there. So we're not looking for another big box. We always want a good employment base. All of that is an employment center for the region. We had almost 3,500 people working here pre-COVID in this industrial park. When we lost US Bank, that was a big hit because these people they go out and eat and all that, and they have different hours as compared to the commercial uses. So we're glad that we're getting an employment base. We're glad we're getting services that could assist in our community, but not just our community, 63132, which has one of the higher age cohorts, and along with the St. Louis region. And they're leasing the property, so it keeps it within our tax base, which is good, because Mercy is a not-for-profit type of thing, or that gets beyond my expertise in there. But we also have informed them that this use is authorized not by right, but by special permit, which gives the city some leverage in terms of asking for some improvements, or the way our code is written, that Chapter 428 improvements have to be implemented if there's a change in use, so if we're going from an office function to a medical type of function, that is a complete change in use, and therefore that gives us that ability to trigger what Commissioner Powell is talking about in there. And of course, we're concerned about our lighting, signage and things. And now under the new comprehensive plan to talk about sustainability, there are solar panels already on this building up on the roof that were installed by US Bank. In there, I would assume that they would still be in operations. And then Mercy has a pretty good website talking about their sustainability and environmental, uh, how they're addressing that through their corporation. But it would be nice to know like what other functions would be incorporated within this building.
Good.
Okay.
I think that's great. Is there? Go
Mr.
ahead, Jim.
Carcel?
Also, just since we have been talking about trees, on the planting schedule, 2 of the 4 trees on there that are indicated are native species. They are B and D are the native ones that are on the planting schedule.
Okay. Thanks for the clarification. Okay, there's no other discussion items. Maybe we should hear from the petitioners.
Okay, and Chairman, I'll note we have several representatives here, both with Mercy, with the property owners. Then I also have some people online that if they, anytime I see they raise their hand, I'll put them in to participate. I'm not sure they're just here to listen, but again, I'll start with Bamboo Equity or the representatives, just to introduce yourselves because you are the property owners, and then Mercy representatives. And I think Josh, you're representing okay, so.
And if you could come up and, come up to the podium and speak, and then state your name and address for the record. Whoever wants to start first, you guys can all come up. So, yeah.
Please turn your microphone on.
Yeah. Perfect.
We good?
Yeah, it's good. That's great.
I'm Josh Marcus with Stock and Associates. We're the civil engineers and the owner's representative for the design. Oh, do you need our
The
address?
address too.
257 Chesterfield Business Parkway, Chesterfield, Missouri, 63005.
Thank you.
Ashley Hesjedal with Bamboo Equity Partners. I will be the asset manager for this property. Do you want my home address or business address?
Either.
Okay,
Business.
11701 Borman in Maryland Heights in the.
That's,
Thank you.
yeah.
I'm Ed Backer. I'm at Intelica. I was the broker on the deal, and Alice Benner and Dan Dokovic are also online if they wanted to chime in.
Okay, state your name, your address.
I'm sorry.
Business address.
Ed Backer, 11701 Borman Drive, Maryland Heights, 63146.
Perfect. Perfect.
Good evening, Doug Malcolm, VP of Ambulatory Pharmacy Services for Mercy. Address is, I have to look it up, 14528 South Outer 40 in Chesterfield.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. So if you want to kind of tell us a little bit about the project and a little bit about the this type of business, that would be fantastic.
Okay. Great, yeah. So this ambulatory pharmacy, as mentioned, is providing a variety of services out of this space. Do mention that it does offer that patient-facing component. So we will have a retail window and home infusion services that would be offered out of this location that can bring patients in. But in addition to that, we are centralizing some of our dispensing for prescription services across our ministry. So we will be filling prescriptions that will go out to patients. They'll be delivered. So we're really emphasizing white glove services and providing that wraparound service for our patients in alignment with clinical services. So taking a different approach to how we provide for our most vulnerable populations, and recognizing that there's a gap there, and just really trying to step up and put a lot of resources towards that patient-facing service. So we will be providing traditional prescription dispensing, but in addition to that, we have some unique solutions, packaging solutions that'll provide better adherence to medication regimens, so driving better outcomes in alignment with our patients' health goals. So mentioned that we will be shipping medications. So that's going to be the primary method of getting prescriptions out into the community, either through courier services. FedEx will be a major component. So we'll have, typically it'll be a once a day, maybe twice a day pickup of prescriptions and shipping out to support not just Missouri, but also Oklahoma and a little bit in Illinois, a little bit in Kansas, and potentially Arkansas. So we're looking at kind of that breadth and being able to serve from this location. In addition to that, we have a lot of centralized services, so kind of more of that business front end, call center functionality. I think the location has been great. I think US Bank it appears, was using it in that capacity, and so we'll be able to leverage some of the space as is, which is great for us as we move into that location. And so we'll have support services to support our clinics, providing prior auth services in a centralized fashion. And, again, mentioned some of our call center and financial assistance support for patients to align with that white glove service that we're looking to provide. The home infusion component, home infusion typically provided at home, but there are some unique situations where patients may feel more comfortable coming in. And so we recognize an opportunity to stand up some of those infusion suites at this location. And that might be something that we would support more of a hub and spoke model, so we can offer more of those infusion suites in some of the communities nearby in the St. Louis metro area. So that'll be a new approach for our home infusion services, which today is primarily just provided at home. And I think that's about it. Any questions?
Your infusion suites, how many chairs, or I'm not sure what you call them, stations would there be?
Yeah, looking at 4.
Four.
4 would be our focus.
Okay, so kind of small, not like
Mhm.
some of those larger, facilities.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Are
So-
you, oh,
Go ahead.
sorry. Oh, are you going to be building out or any space like that is temperature controlled for medications?
Yes, yeah. We will have temp control throughout the space. I think most of it is HVAC that I understand potentially has to be upgraded. But that's something that we would have to have in place for the medication storage to make sure that we're storing at appropriate temperature. Also, fridge and freezer space.
Are you going to be manufacturing any medications on site?
Let's say, is there any compounding? Is it going to be a compound pharmacy?
We will offer sterile and non-sterile compounding. So home infusion products would be our sterile compounded products, and would also look to centralize non-sterile compounding for the community.
Have you built any of these already, kind of like this?
Not for Mercy.
Oh,
Yeah,
commercial.
yeah. So
Okay.
this will be first. We have a pretty significant pharmacy footprint, and this is a support of our broader strategy to leverage those pharmacies in more of a patient-facing manner and provide more of our clinical services. So we can automate as much as we possibly can to free up our pharmacists and pharmacy technicians to provide more of that patient-facing service, which is becoming a challenge these
Yeah.
days.
Do you expect it to be like, it sounds like some warehousing, shipping, things like that. What percent of the square footage is going to be more associated with distributing versus the retail? And I guess the other component is your support staff or office staff.
Yeah, and I would say we've got a
Yeah, I think
breakdown.
that is an
Oh, I
inclusion.
saw that.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
has a preliminary site plan. So Mercy has narrowed down to a couple architects, and they're actually getting access into the building, I believe, tomorrow, before they finally choose. So, but this is a preliminary layout of how they would expect to parcel this out relative to square footage and uses. And I think that along with that, there was a program summary space allocation that was included in the submittal that breaks that down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. What is automation?
So automation is just machinery that will automate the counting filling process. So we'll have the machines that'll be able to count medications, put them in the bottles, put the labels on, put lids on, and send it down the line. We'll have conveyance, so we'll be able to take on increasingly high volume as we ramp the service up, potentially up to somewhere between 10 and 15,000 prescriptions a day for our patients, and much of that is going to be in compliance packaging. So you may have patients who are on 10 or 12 or 14 medications, so it'd be a single box with
Gotcha.
10 or 12 medications going to one patient.
Traffic with all of that shipping and stuff.
Yeah, so we would expect shipments once or twice a day for supplies. So pharmaceuticals typically are going to come in once a day. We'll also have supplies. So some of the shipping materials, typically that's once a day also. And then I would expect that as we ramp up, we're going to be looking at maybe 2 pickups per day by a carrier.
Segments or van?
Are these like loading docks, like big trucks, or what is this?
We do have, I think we'll have to, it'll probably be trucks or FedEx, because those are going to be bins that'll go out and load up. We do have shown on the screen the docks that we'd be pulling up to, but some of the shipping supplies, they typically will come in on pallets, so
Okay.
box trucks.
How much is 15,000 prescriptions? Is that, I just, sounds like a lot, but
It
the
is.
bottles are pretty small. So,
Yeah, no, it is a lot. Some of the retail pharmacies back in my filling days, we were, somewhere around 1,000 a day, with a very significant staff to manage that kind of volume. So it is significantly more, but the automation that we're talking about, it's robots that will do a lot of that work, and so creates a minimal FTE input for that component, so we can focus our FTEs on more of the patient-facing services.
yeah.
About how many employees are you expecting on the site?
As we ramp up, it'll ramp up to about 160 across all teams, supporting all those different areas that we were talking about.
What's your time frame on the ramping?
Yeah, so we would expect as we go live with our services, again, all tentative and depending on our timeline for construction, over the first year, we would be probably bringing about a third of those. And then I would say a third each year thereafter for across 3 years.
Other than the retail pharmacy and the infusion services, any other patient facing front office type retail business, or is the rest going to be back office stuff?
It's all back office,
Yep.
yeah.
How about security?
We will have security with the medications that'll be stored on the premises.
Is that dictated by an agency or anything, the FDA or anything?
There are DEA requirements,
Okay, DEA,
so
yeah.
security systems and what have you, but we'll be looking at having more security just based on what we have in that space.
Okay.
Walk-in coolers and stuff like that too?
Yes, yeah, for the these GLPs that we're seeing crazy, need a lot of space for that. So yeah, we would be looking for square footage for walk-in fridge, freezer, for the shipping materials
Gotcha, gotcha.
and product.
I think Carlos mentioned that there are currently solar panels on top. Is the intention to keep those? Yeah, that's a,
They look lonely.
they do look well. There's a lot, I see a lot of white space.
They do. I didn't see them until just now. That's something that we'll continue to work towards and see. We don't know if they're functioning right now and what the architect may or may not need to do relative to anything on the roof for all the new systems that are being put in, and whether or not it makes sense to.
A lot of space that you could take advantage of them to run all your automation. It would be.
Yeah.
I'll say I would love to see them either maintained or expanded or whatever as part of this, especially if you maybe already have some of the infrastructure necessary to make it happen.
Sure, and we'll dig into that whenever we have a little bit more information about the architects and what they may need to do to the building.
Have you guys looked over kind of some of the streetscape standards and, things like that? And
Yes, so the draft landscape plan that was submitted was showing the streetscape as it's outlined in the code. And then they showed some additional trees in the back parking area in some of those islands that I'm not sure if they all have trees in them today or not. So they don't. So, and then part of it where they've noted, Rusty Saunders with Loomis, was the landscape architect that went out there. He found all the lights that are in the existing islands in the back as well, and they're pretty low lighting, he said, but they look fairly new. So the goal was to keep the larger trees away from those lights so they're not competing with one another for that parking area.
Yeah, makes sense.
Do you, oh,
Go ahead.
I'm gonna say, do you need all that parking? Is there any possibility that some of that could be decommissioned
No,
for
I
some
think it would all
stormwater
be
management
needed. And
purposes?
I think it would all be needed, and plus in that sense, because Mercy's leasing this, I don't know that, I mean, obviously the owner's here, but if it were ever to revert back to another use that wasn't a special use, to remove all that parking and kind of limit the ability of what this building may need to be in the future.
Wouldn't suggest removing all of it. I'm just saying it looks like an extraordinary amount of parking for 160 employees.
Yeah, how many parking spots are on site?
Roughly 4 per 1,000.
If you can come up, because people online can't hear.
Yeah,
you.
apologies.
No
It's
worries.
roughly a 4 per 1,000 ratio, which is a very standard, actual, probably minimal parking requirement for an office building.
Yeah.
So as an example, like an Earth City building that has lots of density is maybe 8 or 9 per 1,000.
Okay. Does seem like a lot. Do you envision any traffic issues with moving the shipments in and out, your retail component?
I wouldn't expect so. I mean, with the way that it's set up, there has not been a traffic study performed, but as we're hearing tonight, 4 FedEx trucks a day, two incoming, 2 outbound.
They're not are they semis or are they just vans?
I don't know if I know that or not.
Yeah.
We can ask that question, but I'm not sure that a semi trailer can actually back up to those docks and not be out in the middle of the road with the length of the apron that's there. So
Right.
we can take a look at that and also respond back to you.
That'd be great.
Mhm.
That'd be great. Any other questions that you guys have for us? Am I missing anything that we haven't talked about already?
Just a couple of things, if that's okay. Again, just want to go back to in here, and it's my understanding that the Mercy will be leasing the facilities, which we're extremely happy to have. What we learned over time was like on some of these that there's options to extend the lease, and we hope that you guys are long-term residents and not something that would be short-term. So we just wanted to note that. Any plans about the building exterior? We know there's going to be quite an investment in the interior, but are there anything that's being proposed for the outside of the building? It's
I believe
it's in
that,
good condition. It's masonry, but it's a building from the 60s, and we didn't know if there was anything proposed or anything that the commission needs to be informed of.
right, I think there was a note that George may have sent that they would be looking at a monument sign as well as
And that would be signage, yeah.
potentially
Mhm.
a sign on the building as well. But as they haven't selected an architect to really iron out the details, I'm not certain that there's any plan at this point in time to change the facade of the building unless it were a code issue or just something that needed to be upkept.
And there is breaks. It's one of these buildings. It was initially a warehouse and I think office functions for Carter Carburetor. Then it was a U.S. Bank, or initially by Mark Twain Bank is who came in there first, and then eventually U.S. Bank. U.S. Bank added all these windows. The majority of the windows that you see were done by U.S. Bank as they converted the old manufacturing facility to more for an office use or function. It is all masonry in there, and you'd seen that. But we would hope, and one of the things, and there was a monument sign here, the sign is still there, but one of the major identities of our communities has been this green space. And we talked to them and looked at other variations that they were looking in. As you were talking about parking, they were looking at expanded parking. So they're keeping now the parking as is. But, these trees, well, I couldn't tell you the health. And those have always been, a major focus in the community. And then if you go into some of the older streetscapes, when U.S. Bank was there, excuse me, 1 second here. Here it is. Let's see if I can find. You could see how U.S. Bank used to play out in that area, and we'd like to see that come back. As both as an amenity for your employees, but to connect, activity with back to the streetscape and all that. We want to work to make sure, if we do expand the sidewalks, we minimize, any impact to these trees, or or find out if doing that will have an impact or a negative impact, that we should look at different other options.
Yeah.
And that nature, both Stock and Associates, and along with Intellica, Bamboo, have always been great to work with from a staff level. They helped us in terms of securing door.com, the Paddle and Pickle, Enterprise, and some other major things. So we've had a good relationship with them. And we were happy to see that they were representing this building, and then, with Mercy in there. So we just wanted to kind of note some of those items in there, make sure there was any other things that the commission wants us to take a look into in advance. The use, again, is called out in the district. We
Yeah.
allow it, but it requires a special permit. That being said, it requires some modifications. We're glad to see that they're doing some plantings in the back, because as you go back there, apologize here. If you see the condition that it is today, they'll be, adding those additional trees and vegetations, lighting will be a nice improvement to break that up in there. There's a lot of parking in these areas. This triangle here have been our major employers.
Yeah.
In there, and it was a big loss to see U.S. Banco, shortly after Enterprise Fleet Management left, and it's good to see that again we're attracting good size employers that are investing in our community. So
I'm not sure if it'd be the front, like you said, it's a 1960s building. So if there's anything that could be done to the front that makes it look better, I think that would be a great idea, especially since you're gonna have that retail component. And that way, when people are driving by, they pick up on that.
Sure.
And then the last thing again, as we look at these, the issue is not just trying to align with the street here, but you have two aprons very close to each other. And again, to have the opportunity somewhere down the future to reconfigure that would be great, you know, to be able to get some type of legal instrument that would give us that ability to negotiate if this ever redevelops. There are some obstacles, and you know, we got a hydrant, we got utility poles.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that you know, again, it would not be in the city's best interest to place this to happen today, or to figure out if someone's just looking to occupy the space. But you know, and there's a manhole, so some MSD things. So it's going to require getting a better idea of what's going to happen to this parcel, you know, down the future. The other thing here on this one, the city is putting an additional turning lane, because right now, people that are going westbound to Creve Coeur, if somebody's turning left to go to 170, this gets backed up. It's a single lane. Council's authorized the placement of a new right turn lane, so that will help alleviate a lot of the traffic that we're having in there. And the goal here is, again, you can probably park 2 cars before you start um, impeding access, you know, full access in here. And you know, ideally, it's great that it's aligned with their drive, but if we can move it back somewhat, then they can minimize, you know, any backup disturbance or limitations on there.
Is the city gonna move or adjust the stormwater? inlet?
That inlet, most of the improvement is going to be to avoid that and the cost.
Yeah.
Because there is we're shifting, we have a lot of excess right away on this side.
Okay,
So,
Okay.
you know, some of the sidewalks getting relocated, a lot of this green space will be removed.
okay, okay.
Yeah, we were hoping you would just move the entrance for us too.
And that
We-
is something,
we were told
our
that
our
was
public
too late
works,
for that.
our public works, I mean, because we.
I know there was a grant involved and all these other things. so
And
we-
the goal, I think, is March, and I think we want to have that discussion. I can't, you know, depending on what the commission, ultimately the council's decision is, to have that discussion before we get out there.
Sure.
To see if that's an opportunity we can incorporate.
Okay.
Oh, I do have one quick question. With a lot of pharmacies, they have drive-throughs. Are you planning on? Good. Okay.
No.
Great.
Right. So again, the goal here was to, you know, educate the commission regarding the services that are provided in there. You know, this is a retrofit or of an existing building, so it's regarding the use. It does have to go to council, so you guys would be recommending in there. They look like they're willing to do the streetscape improvements. I think we want to just kind of pin down the access points in that process. And wanted to see if there was any other questions or comments from the council that we might have overlooked staff-wise or in their discussions. If not, we'll bring this back to your meeting on December 4th.
Great. Thank you. And
No,
thank you for
thank you.
considering all of that.
Appreciate
it. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thanks for
much.
being patient with all the other agenda items.
That's fine.
Yeah, right. All right. So we'll move on to item C, text amendment to the LID Light Industrial District regarding data centers.
Chairman, I'm gonna ask if we can just defer
We didn't
discussion.
get a copy of that testament.
Okay.
The staff, there's no staff report in either her packet nor
But
mine.
there's some really.
It is on the links.
If you
Yeah.
follow that link.
On the agenda link, there's a lot of the data in there, and that's probably where the staff report is.
Yeah, there's a lot of good information, and
Yeah.
the only thing I was curious about, Carlos, is St. Louis County or the state of Missouri coming up with their own regulations on this.
Correct, and I think they're gonna be taking a look at it more from the energy usage component of it. Ours is more regarding the noise and making sure that we can
Buffer
and
zone.
buffer it from residential properties. I'm not aware of them limiting municipalities yet, but I think my understanding is that they were gonna start taking a look at it from their perspective of the utility usage.
The links have a lot of good information,
Yes.
background information about the impacts of these, what other municipalities have done, things like that. So It's
So
pretty
yeah,
interesting.
I'd urge you, if you get a chance, the staff report is in place, and I'm sorry, I uploaded it just on the agenda. And then the East West Gateway Council of Governments has put a resources pages for all our communities to be able to access on there. There's a lot of good data.
Just a note on the website, I tried to access the general plan and got a blank,
Wow.
both on my phone and on my computer.
So,
The general plan?
oh, you're talking about the comprehensive plan?
Comprehensive
Oh my
plan.
gosh.
So you might, I
Yeah.
was able to get to where it's broken down into sections, but the main link that says this is where it is, no go.
No, I appreciate you bringing that to our attention. We'll make sure we get
It
that.
may just been a weird glitch, but it was
It's-
just not happy.
Now, it could be the file size. I've never tried it on my phone.
Well, I
But-
tried it on my computer
Okay.
too, so. it
Though
didn't-
the file size is enormous.
Yeah, I know. That's why when I went to the pieces, I could get to the pieces, but it was just not it was not having it.
Got that.
So I figure I have is the same amount of space as most people do,
No.
so we should be aware. Yeah, see, like you guys have more space, so.
Okay, we'll
yeah,
take a
it
look.
was just
And
wasn't
if we need to
consensus.
break it up
We
into,
have to break it up.
we'd be
Yeah.
glad to do so.
That'd be great, because I couldn't get, like I said.
No, I appreciate it. I'm glad you're taking a look at it.
Or you can do a reduced file size. And
Well, it
sometimes
didn't even allow me to do.
when you open it, and
Yeah,
save it again, you
yeah.
can save it as a reduced. file
Yeah,
size.
yeah.
And that sometimes is very helpful. So,
So,
Okay.
I
So-
just thought you'd be aware, should be aware that, and it, like I said, it might not,
so we have most of the text pretty well codified. I think right now we'll just ask for deferral as we
yeah.
good.
highlight some of the things.
So we'll move on to other business, meeting minutes. I see a meeting minutes from June 26, 2025. Would someone like to acknowledge it?
Can I just mention one more time that I think it would be useful if our commentary was also included? Because the reports kind of speak for themselves as to what you're covering. But there's literally no discussion of what we all said, which, so I know it's tedious to go back and have to listen to it, but maybe take notes while we're here. Might be easier. I don't know. But I mean, otherwise it's,
Okay. Jack, can you look into doing that? That'd be great.
Yeah.
All right. As long as it's
Right.
not 5 or
you
10
love
pages long.
listening to this discussion twice. Yeah, well, I mean, you can reduce what we said, what is said by staff because you have your reports versus what we say, you have no record at all. So, yeah, I understand. I understand.
No, but I will look into it.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. S- Did anyone like to acknowledge?
No.
Or I'll acknowledge it and we'll move on. Okay, reports, Carlos.
Oh, there was one thing. We had a rooftop solar panel. We need to bring to your attention. It's at 9761 Lindley Drive. Generally, we just do these as other businesses when they meet the criteria set by the commission. This is a unique property and also home. So the panels are scattered throughout the house, as you see here, to be at their most effective. In there, they're going to be the standard type of panels that would be compatible that you see being installed and such, but because they're in different planes, want to make the commission aware. In there, this subdivision has multiple homes that have solar panels installed, both in front and rear, in there. But
Yeah, so there's a few panels on the front of the house.
mhm.
Any complaints has there ever been a complaint of a solar panel on the front of a
We
house?
had, when they started being used, I shouldn't say, when they first started being used for residential purposes and all of that, I think it was Glenmary or Sleepy Hollow. There was, and then that was probably 15 years ago, and
Yeah, yeah.
now it's pretty much
Yeah,
coming.
yeah. Okay, good. Anybody have any issues?
No.
Looks good. Okay, we'll move on.
All right, so here you have a schedule of events. Please remember our next meeting is December 4th. And then our second meeting will be December 18th. I believe for the December 4th meeting, we may have one new home. Or is that the?
Potential one new home and a.
Coming in.
Yep.
And then we'll have the results from Stody regarding the survey links. So if there's an opportunity Again, the 4th, if we can reserve some time specific in there. If we have the opportunity to move some of the action items to the 18th, we'll do so and now open up some more time in there. Or if we can do it reverse, try to get the action items on the 4th and spend more time the 18th, because by that point, I think Ms. Doty would have had a couple of surveys already installed.
See how
Okay.
the agendas come in, or
Mhm.
the petitions come in, and I think that's good.
Okay.
Okay.
Outside of that, Chairman, I don't have any specific updates, and there's any questions regarding the current status of developments. But most of them are fully now enclosed. I think for the most part, there's a lot of interior work going on.
I think we got to highlight November 27th, all of that turkey trot.
That's correct, and I'll leave that further.
Did I kill
No.
kill the thunder or?
No, but I mean, I know at least 2 of us are gonna be there working in that morning, so, but your beer.
I got alcohol.
Well, yeah, they don't want you serving beer anymore, because excitingly, Great Heart is actually gonna be serving, donating, and so they're gonna be serving, so that's actually great that we have a local, and there's a few others, I think, stepping up to be part of it. So come one, come all, weather looks decent for Thanksgiving morning, probably in 35 to 40, which could be worse. Trust me, it has been worse. So, also noted here, the city council candidate, I'll say packet pickup, not packer, but we'll go with that too. For anyone who's interested in running. So there are 2 seats available for this election. And yeah, please come out for the turkey trot. Please, have everybody join in for the great, and bring canned food drives, because they're still obviously here and also at 5 Oaks, and then you can bring it on in the morning of Thanksgiving as well.
Great.
Thank you for mentioning that. We have canned food and toys for tots pickup at 5 Oaks and here. Packet pickup, I just wanted to throw on top, is going to be at 5 Oaks. And I know we'll be turning people away, even though they'll have, we've done packet pickup at 5 Oaks for the last few years, or since 5 Oaks is open, but it will be there, and they can't separate, where the packet pickup
Sorry.
is.
Do you mean pack pickup? You're talking about turkey trot.
Turkey trot.
Turkey trot is
packet
at 5
I
Oaks.
thought you were talking about city
packet
council.
pickup is.
My bad.
Okay, I was like, no, it was here last year. I know.
I did fully intend to only be talking about turkey.
Okay, yeah, turkey trot is at 5 Oaks. I agree. That has been in the last few years. So. Yep.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, I just was making sure I wasn't the.
Anything else, everybody? That being said, we'll adjourn at 9:27. Thanks, everybody.